Working with villagers can be frustrating. They bring a lot of powerful resources through trading and it gets you a lot of experience, but they're one of the hardest mobs to control. They have the ability to somehow read your mind and understand exactly what you want them to do, so they can do exactly the opposite. To remain in control of my villagers, I ended up putting them mostly in minecarts. They're still able to reach their workstations when you park them next to it, and I can just wheel them around as needed. Now, to prevent all of my builds becoming some sort of roller coaster, I moved most of the villager infrastructure underground and designed and installed a slime block launcher system to move the villagers vertically. That system turned out to be quite compact and easy to integrate with existing builds, and it looks great fun in action, so I want to share it with you in case you have a similar use case as I had. I hope you enjoy. Now the redstone looks complex and there's a lot going on, so let's break it up into its 4 smaller sections to make it easier to understand. A slime block launcher catches the incoming minecarts and launches them up into the air. The floor above the slime block launcher is briefly removed and replaced again to let the minecarts through, and a piston up top pushes the minecart to the side after it's been launched upwards. This makes room for any next incoming minecarts into the system. Finally, a piston at the bottom can remove the slime block launcher altogether so that minecarts can fall down onto a rail below. The whole system is triggered in 3 ways. The incoming minecarts go over a detector rail, which activates the subsystems to launch the minecarts upwards, remove a block in the ceiling, and fire the piston that pushes the minecarts to the side. A button at the bottom activates the same steps and can be used, for example, when the player is stuck below without a minecart. A button at the top removes the floor and the slime block launcher so that the minecarts can drop down onto a rail all the way at the bottom, and this is to send minecarts back into whatever railway system you may have set up underground. Let's assume you have a room built ready to house the villagers already. Inside that room you just need to reserve one corner for where the minecarts with villagers are going up and going down. You can place some temporary rails in this room or have it more fixed setup, whatever you need. Below this room you need to reserve a space of 5 by 7 by 9 blocks. This is where you will house all the redstone and the rails below. I have a box prepared of the materials that you will need. I won't read them out, feel free to pause the video to copy exactly what you need, but it's not particularly exotic or expensive. I will note that due to specific situations that you might run into, you may want to reroute some of the rails or even redstone lines, so make sure you have plenty of powered rails, building blocks and redstone dust on hand. The first system to install is the floor remover. Start by identifying the block that you want to move out of the way and place a sticky piston below it, facing upwards and leaving a 1 space gap between the block and the piston. Go to the side and place 2 sticky pistons on their side, again leaving a 1 space gap. Place building blocks in a V formation next to this like so, removing all the temporary blocks. On these building blocks on the middle one, take a redstone torch and place it on the side of the single piston. Take a repeater and place it facing the direction of the double piston and set it to a 2-tick delay. Put a redstone dust on this, make sure that this is a redstone cross and not a dot. You can now test this system by placing a button on the middle block and pressing it. For the slime block launcher, go down 3 blocks from the upward facing piston and place your slime block. Make sure the space is open here. Below the slime block, place another sticky piston facing upwards. Next to the piston, make sure you take a half slab and place a repeater with a 4-tick delay on top of this. Behind the repeater, place another building block, and next to this, place 4 more building blocks where you place 2 repeaters that have a 3-tick and a 2-tick delay respectively, and 2 redstone dust. Go to your slime block and surround it with glazed terracotta 2 high. On the side of the wall, place another building block and place a button on top of this. Behind the button, place 2 building blocks, go up one with a slab, place another building block and place redstone dust like so. Behind the block with the button, place a downward facing sticky piston and an observer next to this. Make sure it is pointing in the direction of your other redstone. From the redstone system you installed here, go down 1 block and run a redstone line like so. You should now be able to test this and see the floor being retracted and the slime block being launched up. We'll now install the system that pushes the minecarts to the side. Go into the room that accepts the villagers and replace 1 block to the side with a regular piston. From the back of the button that you just installed, run a few building blocks like so. Place 1 dust and 3 repeaters all on max delay. Transfer the signal upwards by placing building blocks with redstone torches on top of that twice, ending with a building block. Place a sticky piston facing on the side in the direction of the piston that you previously placed, and on this sticky piston facing downwards, place an observer. You should now be able to test this and see the piston firing. To send things downward, in the room that accepts the villagers, place a button above the block that will be removed, leaving a 1 space gap. Behind this block, place a building block and step it down 5 levels like so. And lead it around into the existing redstone signal on the location of this half slab. Over these blocks, run a redstone line like so. Place a repeater with default delay in this location. Run a line further down 3 more blocks. Run a redstone line over this as well and place a redstone torch here. Next to this torch, place 2 more dust as well. Remove this glazed terracotta block and replace it with a piston facing on the side. You should now see when you press this button up top that both this block and the launching system are retracted. To make sure this gets triggered by minecarts as well, go to the quote-unquote front of your system and place an extra building block here. On the glazed terracotta, place a regular rail, and on this new building block, place a detector rail. Place a few building blocks next to this like so for the redstone to connect this into the system. Place redstone dust 2 blocks coming out of the detector rail. Place a repeater with a maximum delay here and the same here. Between those repeaters, place a building block. Run a redstone line next to this, connecting it up to the back end of the button. Also make sure you close this off with building blocks to help guide the minecart better. To send minecarts down and away, go to the slime block launcher and go down 2 blocks and place some powered rails here. Now you have a lot of freedom here. I'll just hook them up quickly like so we can have some sort of looping system going upwards like so, and with slabs connecting them up like so. Make sure you power these with a lever as well. But if I just run it like so and add a block here, we should have a continuous loop. We are now ready to test the system, and you can be the test subject yourself. You can just go into a minecart, send yourself in, you will be shut up and pushed to the side. You can also take the system back. You may have to push this minecart a little bit further. Press the button and go down onto the rail. This works with empty minecarts as well. And this also works if we just stand here and press the button. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that all the steps are clear and that it brings something for you to apply in your own builds. When you build this in survival, make sure you light up your redstone so you don't accidentally turn this into a villager converter, by the way. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, tips or feedback, do feel free to leave me a comment. If you ended up applying this in your world, feel free to send me a tweet with the result as well. I'd love to see your creations and applications. They'll definitely help to inspire me to design new things as well. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel for similar content in the future. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope to see you next time.